Hello everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Halo Club, and today is going to be pretty fun because recently a trusted leaker came out and claimed that there was a bunch of cool things happening with the video game world, the video game industry, and Microsoft, and he also suggested that there are 2 new Halo games in development at 343 Industries or with vendors and associates right now. So it got me thinking, and I wanted y'all's feedback as to what might actually be in production, because we already know Halo 6 is in development. What is his other game, if there is another game? First off, it could be nothing, or it could be a spin-off, an anthology, something very interesting, something very cool that we haven't seen before, something that might give 343 the freedom to experiment with the Halo formula. As I've always said, I don't want them to experiment with the mainline franchise, I want them to experiment with the side game. So we might see something really cool because they are not, weighed down with the burden of making a Halo mainline game. They are able to experiment. Instead of experimenting with Halo 6, they can mess around with this maybe anthology game, this side spin-off game. But I asked you guys on the HaloFollower community page, what spin-off game would you like to see? And boy, we have hundreds of comments, and a lot of these I am very impressed. There were some very interesting ideas here, some ideas we've already heard before, but in greater detail and, greater speculation and desire. So I sure hope 343 Industries is listening. I think, I hope they've already considered some of these concepts already. I think it would be very hard for them to not already have considered a few of these things. But yeah, let's go ahead and get right into it. First off, real quick, I do want to mention we are giving away an Xbox One controller. Be sure to participate on Gleam. A link right down in the description. Our very first comment, though, is from Randall the Vandal. He says, I want a Halo Wars game where you're a grave mine and need to take over planets or Halo installations. Second, I want a game with the war between the Foreigners and humans. Lastly, I want a Locke game from before he became a Spartan. So yes, there's been a lot of talk about Locke. I'm not going to talk about that anymore, but that would be kind of interesting. I mean, we sort of already got that. He says, second, I want a game with the war between the Foreigners and the humans. Now, that's actually something I legit have never thought of before. It really goes back to Halo 4, because that was like a huge element of what Halo 4 was the Foreigners, the history of the Foreigners and the humans and all that stuff. The terminals were all about that. So I think it would be really cool if we got an experience. We already know that, or well, we're thinking that there's a VR Halo experience already confirmed because they are hiring somebody for a VR experience in the future. So it looks like maybe we might get to see something. I don't know. It would be really cool nonetheless to see something with the Foreigners and humans, if not like a isodidact flashback with Master Chief in Halo 6 maybe. I don't know, it's just a really interesting era of Halo, and if you know much about it, you'd probably agree with me and others that, yeah, that is actually a really cool time in the Halo era, and I would just love to see something like that. He also says, I want a Halo Wars game where you're the grave mine and need to take over planets and Halo installations. So I believe that Halo Wars 1 originally was supposed to have the Flood, but we did get the Flood in Awakening the Nightmare, which was really freaking awesome. But yeah, no, something playable. I mean, playable as a grave mine, that would be a really cool twist. I mean, I don't think we'll see that anytime soon, but Halo Wars 3, if that does come out, although it looks like it's not ever going to come out at this point, but we never know. It could come out in 10 years. It is certainly something that would be really interesting for them to try out, is to give us the ability to play as the Flood. And I think that's something that a lot of players have been kind of secretly desiring over the, past decade or so with Halo. Our next comment is from Crazy Shadow Dragon. He says, Halo Lone Wolf. I think that's the title of what he's about to say here. Honestly, I'd like to see a game where you're abandoned on a planet due to some sort of evacuation, and you have to fight to survive or something. You could be an elite or a Spartan. Here's the breakdown. You got left behind during an attack of some sort, stuck on a foreign planet. You are oblivious to why everyone left. You soon find out that there are Flood or Foreigners overrunning the place. You are outnumbered and must fight using some guns you have never seen before. It would be cool if it was a Flood horror game. So thank you, Crazy Shadow Dragon. Very cool idea. Being left on a planet, it kind of reminds me of Halo 3 ODST a little bit, and Halo Reach, those two elements mixed together. A massive invasion, a massive what the fuck is going on. People running around trying to get their heads on straight. It would be really cool to put us in the boots of a ODST again, and really kind of capturing that element of being alone on a mysterious alien planet, fighting to survive. I think that really is one of the elements of Halo. I may be wrong. That's how I see it, though. I mean, one of the first missions of Halo 1 is when we're launched and we're literally just Master Chief with our AI companion, and we're stuck on this mysterious Halo construct. And we have to fight a bunch of aliens, and we see the flood. And basically, it is that is what I think Halo originally was anyway, was a lone wolf kind of game. It was you by yourself fighting aliens. And so, yeah, no, that would be really cool if they decided to do something a little bit more with that. Chalder Starnes says, how about something starring Johnson, Sergeant Johnson? You know, something like his backstory. That would be neat. And since we didn't get a Halo 3 remaster, make the game lead up to it, ending with the first cutscene. So it sounds almost ridiculous, but I would love a relaunch of Halo 3 on Steam, you know, and I would love it, maybe not officially, because I don't think it'll ever happen, but I mean, if they ever did decide to make a Halo 3 anniversary, it would be so cool if they threw in like an extra mission featuring Johnson. Maybe one of the times that we didn't see him, you know, we got to see, you know, a different perspective, sort of like Chief and the Arbiter. We would be able to, in the middle of Halo 3, we would be able to opt in for like an extra mission or a secret mission or something like that in anniversary mode, and we'd be able to play as Johnson, or maybe another mission would be featuring some other character, maybe a mission. Actually, I don't know if that would make any sense if it was just the Arbiter, but you know, kind of moving around the playfield and the perspective of, you know, what was happening in Halo 3. That would be really cool, and I think that would be really cool and acceptable if they decided to do that. So we have them Urlock, he says, a Mass Effect style RPG shooter, cruising around the Halo universe in your own ship, exploring planets like Sankelios. Could be as you play as some mercenary who gets caught up in all current events in the Halo universe and hired by the UNSC and or enlisted in the Spartan program and given operational freedom due to being a merc, allowing deniability of ONI involvement. I wouldn't try to presume a plot over anything a professional writer could pull off, but being an RPG and following in the footsteps of a Mass Effect game, they should definitely get some good writers on it. So yes, thank you, Thermerlock. Sorry if I butchered your name there. I love Mass Effect. I do. We actually have a BioWare follower channel. If you want to check that out, Tucker will be making some more videos soon. And I like the idea of exploring and cruising. I don't know if that would fit in with Halo, and that's why I think it's so important for this to be an anthology game. You know, it's very important that it is something that gives 343 the ability to do what they want, because I think if they were given the ability to do what they want, they will make something that isn't Halo, but also something that could be very good. You know, if you guys remember, if you were around that time, if you remember this, some people did not like Halo 3 ODST. Some people did not like Halo Reach, right? A lot of people didn't like those games, but we have come to accept it, and it's nostalgic at this point. I remember when I played Halo Reach for the first time, I did not like the game. I after like a week or two, I got really bored of it, and I was like, wow, this is kind of crappy. But as time went on, with better perspective, I mean, especially in contrast with Halo 4 and Halo 5, and for different reasons, I learned to love it, and I learned to think of that as one of the like really good Halo games that really made the series what it is today. So that's why I'm really hoping that 343 messes around with other elements from other games, like what he says here, a Mass Effect style RPG shooter. Would that be good for Halo? Maybe not. Would it be good for a spin-off Halo game? An experimental Halo project? Maybe just a VR experience even, or just a very minor, small side Halo game experience, maybe a beta and Russia again like Halo Online was. That would be cool, right? I think it would be worth trying out, maybe. I don't know what they got planned, but I think that is an interesting idea. And the idea of exploring the planets and really just flying around, maybe with, and this is really hard to believe that 343 would ever do this. Maybe an associate might do this or something if they hire somebody in Microsoft, get another company that has experience to do this. But maybe if they have a generated world, procedurally generated world that would make structures and then build the world, sort of like what No Man's Sky was supposed to be, and actually do it right, you know? But I do think that procedurally generated, even though No Man's Sky was a failure, I do believe that is the future of like RPG games and big roaming games. And it's something that a lot of us sci-fi fans really want, because we want to explore the environments. We want to learn more about this world. We like reading the books, right? I think we like watching the movies, but there's nothing that will really get us into the universe like a video game is. And I think that's why people really care about the games most of all. That's why there isn't a massive following, like 50% or more of the Halo community, that relies on the books as the main excitement of the franchise. I think that's why the games are the most interactive piece that we have of Halo. So if we could take a next step into that and have social spaces, have better Forge, so we can at least explore, Forge created, community created landscapes, and have that in a interactive space that allows us to do this, that makes sense for the viewer, or the player rather, then that would be really, really unique and really awesome. And I think that is something that they should give a try. What do you guys think? Let me know down in the comments below. What do you think about all that, if that made any sense? Spartan Matt 117 says, this might sound dumb, or this might sound stupid to most people, but what if there is a game where you get to see stuff from the Covenant's point of view? For example, you play as the Covenant, and you could go to different places to invade the species, then recruit them. Like how the Grunts planet was attacked, then they were recruited. You can play as different characters and see how each species or world was invaded, and then see how they joined the Covenant. There may be main characters where you are in a group fighting back against the Covenant. Anyways, I typed too much, but this is what I think would be cool, / the Halo community can learn more about the Halo universe. So again, we see a pattern here, people just wanting to be able to explore and experience the Halo universe in bigger depth and learn more about the lore. And it doesn't even have to be in a video game format, but I think like the terminals were a great like push that 343 Industries did. The terminals were an excellent piece of lore material and something for us to experience and see. The terminals didn't look the greatest. It wasn't like cutscenes, but it certainly was acceptable. And if they could just give us more of those, I think that would be really acceptable. I'm really excited to see what. I really do hope that they have Halo 6 terminals in that game. I think that would be great. Do that again, 343, if you're listening. That would be a great idea. Saint Dark Gold says, the 3 things I would want are your idea of a Halo Harvest game, since that would actually be really freaking cool. I would love to see first contact with the old Covenant. 343 could really make the Covenant alien and mysterious in the Halo Harvest game. Yes, no, this is certainly something I've been talking about a long time. It's not like I invented the idea, but yes, a Halo Harvest game would pay tribute to a Halo Reach game. There isn't going to be a Halo Reach 2, but if you look at the sales, you'll see that Halo Reach and Halo 3 ODST sold very, very, like, a lot better than Halo Wars did. So it really, if you look at the charts, statistically, it doesn't make sense that they made Halo Wars 2. I'm glad that they did. But compared to how successful Halo Reach was and Halo 3 ODST, you would think that the marketers, the people at 343 or Microsoft would say, hey, let's make one of these games again. Let's make a game that can pay tribute to one of these games again, even though those games are both cut off because, spoiler alert, Reach falls, Reach is destroyed, and the Noble team dies, right? And then also Halo 3 ODST, everyone splits up. We see Buck in Halo 5, and obviously some shit happened with the team. Rookie died, and some other things happened. So yeah, I mean, they're not going to make a Halo 4 ODST that, is immediately right after all that, because it just doesn't make sense. But if they could make a game like Halo Harvest that would show the destruction of Harvest, because I believe that is when humans first made contact. We see it in Forward Onto Dawn, and we see Master Chief and them all fight and stuff. I mean, how cool would it be if in this Halo Harvest game, it was sort of like in alignment with, let's say, the Forward Onto Dawn movie, right? Halo Harvest could be based on that movie a little bit in the gameplay-wise. You're at a camp, you're being trained, and then suddenly this really mysterious alien species arrives and starts destroying the entire planet. And it would be so cool to see all of that unfold because, yes, we already do know what happens, but the actual experience of running around the forest, being lost, being dazed and confused, we might not even know what happens to the characters individually because of the lack of the lore in that area. So we could be like, okay, does this person survive? Does this person not survive? And then, what would be really cool is if they had one of those characters tie in into Halo 6. That would be really cool as a much older character, right? 30 something years later, and they survived, and they're only revealed to have survived, after Halo Harvest has been out for a while. But seeing the mysteriousness and the scariness of the Covenant when the humans first made contact with this Covenant, I mean, that is so, like, that, the potential of reigniting the excitement of the Covenant would be great if there was something to happen in Halo 6 too. I mean, it would be twice as much more exciting, because if the Covenant were to try to make a comeback in Halo 6, especially with the rise of Cortana, she's giving supplies to the species that are willing to bow to her, like the grunts that have surrendered to Cortana's will and the mantle of responsibility. They have received tons of supplies, ships. They are coming back. On Halo Waypoint, they said maybe the grunts will be the elite. So, it's interesting because Cortana, she has made everything possible again, I think, especially with the Flood, but more so with the Covenant rising again. It would be very quick. I mean, she she could bring anybody to power or destruction very quick with these Guardians, right? So, yeah, so much potential here. Will the Prophets return? Will maybe they glorify Cortana as their goddess, and then that would be their new religion? Maybe not. Would they be beating a dead horse? Who knows? I mean, it all depends on how it actually plays out. Would it be good? Let me know down in the comments below. I want to hear y'all's thoughts about this. But it would be great because it would tie in with Halo Harvest. And I don't know, I just love the idea of a Halo Harvest game, man. And if we could see Master Chief, because I believe he was the one, I believe that there was Blue Team. I might be so wrong about this, but I believe Blue Team was the first team, and I think Master Chief was the first kill of the Covenant. So if we could play as Master Chief for like one mission or two and have the first kill, I mean, how satisfying would that be as a Halo player to be able to shoot the grunt, or I think it was maybe a jackal of, I think it's in Halo Legends, I believe, but how satisfying would it be to kill the very first Covenant soldier, right? That's like a Halo experience that I think would really tie in with everything else, because Master Chief he's gone through this huge journey. Let's go back to the roots a little bit. Let's see what happened at the very beginning, and that's what Halo Reach was about, right? What happened at the very beginning? What led up to Halo 1? Let's go back again, even further, to Halo Harvest, many, many years ago, and see what happened at the very, very, very beginning. How did this war start? And I think that's something that many people that just casual Halo players that just pick up the game and play maybe for a few months and then drop it, I think that's something that many people don't know. How did it all start? So I rest my case. That's why a Halo Harvest game should be made sometime in the next 10 years, I believe. So he also says a Halo horror game involving the Marines and the Flood. I think it could have a great atmosphere and challenging gameplay here. It could be an amazing side story like Halo ODST was. Yeah, so again, Halo 3 ODST did great because it dropped us in the boots of a very wacky environment, a very overwhelming environment at times, because we weren't Master Chief. We had to be sneaky and strategic to fight off the Covenant as ODSTs. You could very easily die. That's what a lot of people didn't like about ODST. Let's knock it down even more and raise the tension and the stakes even more. So how we would do this is put us in the boots of Marine, somebody that is much more vulnerable than even in ODST, and then make them fight something that is even more intimidating than the Covenant as an ODST, which is the Flood. Marine versus the Flood is the biggest gap, one of the biggest gaps we could see in gameplay as far as difficulty could go. And it would be really cool to see. It would just be such a challenging experience. I mean, the Flood was scary as Master Chief. Hell, if you do the lore, if you read the lore, you might know that Master Chief is, I guess you could say, afraid of the Flood. He doesn't like the Flood. I mean, who would, right? So yeah, I mean, of course, it would be terrifying. How terrifying is it for a Marine, though? That is what I want to see. I want to be put into a Marine and play as a Marine fighting the Flood. And then lastly, he says, a Halo game set in the Forerunner era where we get to fight the old Flood on Forerunner worlds with crazy Forerunner weapons and shit. I think 343 could get very creative with the designs of both Forerunner tech and Flood forms in a Halo game like this, and I would honestly love to see the conflict in an FPS game. So yes, 343 brought back some really cool Dead Space looking Flood creatures. I really did like the feel of it. That's one of the things that I feel like 343 has done very well on is the Flood in Halo. At least Halo Wars 2 Awakening the Nightmare, because that's their return, And so, yeah, I mean, I would love to see new Flood forms in a Halo game. I think that they will be returning in Halo 6 to some degree, if not at least mentioned. And we have Forerunner tech, man. And one thing I've always kind of complained about is that, okay, do you guys remember the Halo 3 Sentinel beam, right? That actually looked like a thing that fell off a Sentinel. I want more Forerunner weapons that actually look like they came from Halo Legends or came from that era. We have the Promethean rifle, the Promethean shotgun. We have all this Promethean stuff, but I would say I throw in a couple Forerunner silver gray weapons in there. It might not look super appeasing to the eye. Blue and silver. I mean, I think so, but maybe not to everybody, as orange and maybe dark red would. But I think that would be a really good idea for 343 to do, is bring a couple of those cool weapons back. And besides, most of the Promethean weapons are based off the Forerunner weapons that we see in Halo Legends and the other lore pieces out there that was before their time when Bungie had the mantle. So yeah, anyway. So we are moving to Derp Squad 101. He says, I have an idea. What if Halo tried to grab the community by making a game with what it would really be like to fight the Covenant? You'd be a Marine, a puny Marine, and you watch all the comrades fall around you through the whole game, and it takes a slightly more graphic and realistic approach, returning to the old art styles and giving the Covenant threat again, and bringing players from other styles into the community. It would be an excellent way to implement a Flood Horde mode along with a Battle Royale. Okay, so I like this idea. We've been talking about Battle Royale a lot recently, especially with the new side Halo game potentially being in the works, and we've got a lot of opinions about it. I would say it seems almost split. We have a vote on HaloFollower. I don't actually remember what it was completely, but it's definitely something that people are not sure. We have almost, I'm actually looking at it right now, just brought it up. Should Halo 6 have a Battle Royale mode? And we have almost 10,000 votes here. Now, given this is the HaloFollower community, which may be different than the Reddit community or other YouTubers here on YouTube, other Halo YouTubers, on the site, but what do they say? They say 44% says yes, 34% says no, 22% says I'm not sure. Given all these numbers would definitely change with how 343 would actually implement and create this Battle Royale mode if it was created. But should it have Marines? Maybe, maybe not. I do like the idea of having a graphic and realistic approach, although that's something I don't really like. I mean, who enjoys gore, especially in a game like Halo, but maybe some of you guys do. I'm not a huge fan of it, but yeah, it would be a great way of having Marines fight the Flood and the Covenant, maybe put those in the same game, what the previous idea we were talking about. So definitely some interesting things to think about here. RSB says, a Flood horror game with a decent survival story. I just want a spin-off Halo game in what you play as a normal Marine or ODST, or maybe a game about the Arbiter so you can see what he did between Halo 3 and Halo 5. Yes, that I actually really do like, because there's a gap of Arbiter, and if 343 Industries, it seems so forced and unorganized, and that was just bad writing in Halo 5 with the Arbiter. But if the Arbiter is actually making a return to Halo, a solid return to Halo, then I think it would be good if he's going to make if he's going to be a big character in Halo 6, which I think he might be, because that's the last thing we see in Halo 5 Guardians. We see Master Chief, we see Agent Locke, and we see the Arbiter all together with Dr. Halsey. and they are all together united as Synchelios appears to be shut down by a Guardian as well as Earth and many other colonies. So I think that they will be the main characters. I think that the Agent Locke, Arbiter, and Master Chief will be the squad, if you will, and we might rotate between them. But if they are going to make a big return, then we need to learn a little bit more about the Arbiter. I think we should have some kind of medium supporting him. Only it's like some good medium supporting him, right? But one thing I always love to mention is that the Arbiter, I mean, he really is. It's so funny. It's so funny because so many people hate Locke and so many people don't like him and whatnot. But the Arbiter actually killed, like, what was it, 2% of the human race, him and his ship. He's killed billions of humans, and people still love him. But that is great because, you know, why we care about him is because they made us sympathize with him in Halo 2. They did a really good job at having a redemption story about him. And I would love for them to do the same thing with Locke, and maybe we could have some kind of story intertwined with Locke and the Arbiter, and have maybe Locke's own redemption story. Sergeant Avery Johnson finally decided to stop by. How you been, Johnson? I totally thought you were dead. He says, it's been said before, and I'll say it again, a game about harvest. Reach was a blast, and I love to see how it all started from a first-person perspective. So again, yes, this is something, if they do make a Harvest game, it's got to be first-person perspective. I'm just saying, it's just got to be, you know? Like, there's no way that it can't be that. But guys, what do you think about all this? You know, we have so many ideas here, and I loved all of these ideas, and there were so many more that I didn't grab, but I certainly saw on the community tab on YouTube, and I ask questions like every 2 or 3 days. You might actually be featured in a video. It's not that hard to be featured here, so if you want to, go over to the community tab. Well, make sure you subscribe and hit that notification so you can see every update. As soon as I post something, you can get your post in and then rise to the top. But yeah, guys, what did you think of these ideas? Do you have any favorites? And did you have any ideas of your own? I mean, of course, hopefully this video got you thinking a little bit about some own Halo theories, some speculation, and some fantasies that you would love to see in Halo. I want to hear it down below. Give me your thoughts, give me your feelings. Who are the characters in this idea of yours? What is the story? What is the conflict? And what would make it unique and fun to play? And I'm going to be grabbing more comments because this video was hella fun to make. And I'm going to be featuring them in the next Halo Club or the one after that. And yeah, so hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. One more reminder, we are giving away an Xbox One Master Chief controller. Be sure to participate in that with the Gleam link down below. Pretty easy. And I will see you guys in the next one. And don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already, and drop this video a like if you enjoyed, and only if you did. Dislike it if you didn't, and let me know why you didn't like it. Alright, see you guys in the next one. Peace out. Take care.